which side of the Africa. And note that I'm not saying that there are countries that can be put together to form one side of Africa, and then there are countries that go to the part of Africa that works. That might be so in some situations. But I'm talking about even within the same country, the part of the country that still works, and the parts of the same country that don't work very well. So who is this project for? I mentioned tourism, and I think for tourists or travelers, I should say, you can find video clips of tourist places, interviews with people who have traveled to these destinations, share their experiences. Hopefully you can find information about where to stay, actually seeing the place in video and watching people live in that place and visit the destinations, where to eat, which festivals to attend, and very much also to have a tour through video casts of how people live and how people experience life in different African countries, to meet locals as well. I mean, how they live. Who is it for? It's also for business practice, potential investors. I know, as I said in the beginning, as a professional of international business, I know that is very challenging. But I also know that there are companies that have ventured to the African market and they are doing very well. There are companies that ventured and did not do so well. But whether they are successful or have not been so successful, I think they all have a story to tell. Why the environment makes it good for them to conduct business, and how the environment makes it very difficult to conduct business. So what we're doing in this project is providing data on country specific, not the aggregated data, like Sub-Saharan Africa or East Africa or West Africa, but on a country-specific basis to look at the business environment. And this will be presented in videocast and podcast. In that respect, you as a potential investor or as an individual or organization that wants to embark on business initiatives in Africa would have a balanced understanding from these case studies that we put together. So as a business practitioner, Africa Works is good for you as well. Education. There are opportunities to study in Africa. There are opportunities to transfer, whether from Europe or from North America or from any part of the world, to share that knowledge through students. And somehow we want to showcase, the learning environment in the African countries that we operate. How do students live in these countries? What kind of facilities do they have for studying? What is the educational culture? What is the learning culture? And hopefully through this you would be able to make a decision concerning where to study in Africa. At the same time, we also want to use this opportunity to bring some content also from Africa to the rest of the world. Content about doing business in Africa, content about living and working in Africa, content about studying in Africa, or even volunteering in Africa. Talking about volunteering, civil society, charitable organizations, non-governmental organizations. There are so many of these organizations that are doing brilliant job, amazing job in Africa to support one side of Africa. Now, we would want to showcase these organizations and individual volunteers who have put in their time, who have put in their money, and who have put in their knowledge and are still putting these resources into Africa. And we want the world also to see how your efforts are paying off in Africa. And maybe, just maybe, others would also learn from you and be interested in the continent as well. So if and when you visit the portal www.africaworks.com, you would find videocasts. There is a community portal. You would find news and events, and you also find knowledge resources. We call them knowledge resources because they provide information about other things that are external, provided by other organizations, but that you can learn from, that you can use to make decisions in your travels and in your studying decisions and in your volunteering decisions and business decisions. So on the community side, if you want to go directly to the community site, you can do that through community.africa-works.com. Provide blogs, news, and videos. And it's a portal that lets you, as the user, tell your story about Africa, the Africa you want to show you the world, your Africa, the parts of Africa that works, and the parts of Africa that can also be improved upon. Whether you are an African or not is not important. But what is important is that whether it's just your perception or experience, that you will join the community of individuals with interest in sharing their experiences in Africa and make a contribution as well. Our videocast section contains videos that members of the project are in the field and taking videos of interesting places to visit in each country, writing their travel journals or even general information about these countries. At the moment, since the project is only a couple of months old, we have project members who are in Ghana, and it is interesting. Actually, it has been even for me. I come from Ghana, but I learned a lot through the videos that we are getting out of Ghana. And we hope that we would be able in the coming months and years to cover as many countries in Africa as possible, so we're able to show you or give you a virtual tour of life in Africa. We also have Africa News Network podcast, basically, that we discuss and analyze issues with opinion leaders, not only in Africa but also in Europe, concerning social, economic, political, cultural issues in Africa. Mostly we endeavor to provide our own content through the video production and our news and blogs and reporting on events that we think are interesting in Africa. But we also endeavor to aggregate, to pull together materials that are publicly available on the internet. So in a way that you can have as much content on any given country as you need. Now, how can you support? It is support enough for us if you take your time and enjoy the site, go through the content that we have now, and also come back and go through the evolving content. You can support Project Africa Works by sharing your stories about Africa through blogs, news, videos, and photos. Those of you who are in Africa, or those of you that have organizational interest in Africa or are present in Africa, you can especially help us by becoming our partner in the countries where you are. And as a partner, you support us in developing videocasts and interviews of life in Africa, travel, business, volunteering, and education. And you can also help us, or not help, but support us by visiting our Facebook group page, The Other Africa, the Africa That Works, or becoming a fan of our Facebook page, africaworks.com. Thank you very much for listening, and we do hope that together we are able to provide a balanced view of the African environment, share our experiences, share the resources that we have, and hopefully we would all be able to lift Africa to the level that it would become the international partner in business and travel and education and find a rightful place. Thank you very much.